If you're a beginner, this tutorial will give you all the knowledge you need to start your FBA business on the right foot. Hey YouTube, I'm Jordan and I run 7-figure Amazon FBA business. The objective of this tutorial is to help aspiring Amazon FBA sellers avoid costly mistakes while maximizing their odds for success. Now, since this is a beginner tutorial, we will cover the very basics of selling on Amazon. So if you find the information too simple, feel free to check out the timestamps below and move on to a section that will benefit you the most. Now, for those of you who are totally new to Amazon FBA's business model, the way it works is basically sellers send their products from their manufacturer, whether it's in China or another country, to an Amazon warehouse, also called fulfillment center, or FC for short. From there, Amazon receives your inventory, and oftentimes they would send them to different fulfillment centers so that your product can be delivered to customers more quickly. Once customers visit the Amazon website, whether it is .com or .uk or any other Amazon marketplace, customers will view your listing and purchase from you. Then Amazon will pick, pack and ship the product directly to the customer's doorstep. Amazon will automatically subtract their fulfillment and referral fees, and you will be credited the remaining amount into your balance in your Seller Central. Then every 2 weeks, Amazon will reimburse your funds. So there are basically 3 different business models that sellers utilize on Amazon. The first one, which is also perhaps the most popular one, that's private label, where the objective is that you find a product that already sells well, find a way to make it different and better, and then manufacture it in China or another country, but most commonly products are manufactured in China under your own private label brand. If you already have experience in e-commerce and you have a larger capital, you can even design and build a product from scratch and again have it manufactured in China. But because this approach requires larger capital, so I would only recommend it to people with decent experience in e-commerce. Now, the pros of private label are that you have complete control over your product listing. That means you have complete control over the product images, title, description. You can change it and make tweaks anytime you like. The second pro is that you always have the buy box, since you're the only seller of your brand. Now, a buy box is the thing that when you go to a listing on Amazon and you're about to purchase it, for many products there will be a number of sellers who sell the exact same product. By default, the seller who has the buy box will get the order. And that's one of the biggest pro of selling private label, that you always have the buy box as you will be the only seller. The third pro is that you could potentially expand your business beyond Amazon. For example, you could start a Shopify store and build a brand within your niche. And e-commerce businesses who sell on and off Amazon tend to have higher value compared to e-commerce businesses that only sell on Amazon. Now, onto the cons of private label. I would say it requires a lot of effort and creativity in the product research and development stage. And secondly, Amazon in general is a very competitive marketplace, so that makes it even more essential for you to pay more attention on product differentiation. The second business model is wholesale. If you choose this business model, you basically be a reseller of existing brands. You have to find and contact distributors. You buy those products in bulk at wholesale prices and then flip them on Amazon at a profit. The biggest pro of this business model is that, like I said, those are big brands with established listings on Amazon. So you don't need to create a new listing from scratch. You don't need to spend money on product photography and get reviews. You will basically list your products under existing listings that already have tons of social proof, in other words, customer reviews. And those listings already get tons of traffic as well. So perhaps that's the biggest pro of the wholesale business model. Now on to the cons. As you probably guessed it already, there will be many sellers who sell the exact same product under the same listing as you. So in order for you to get an order, you have to win the buy box. The seller who wins the buy box will get most of the orders. And the one who usually wins the buy box is the lowest price, which, as you can guess, makes the business model very competitive, and most products usually have razor-thin margins. Another con is that you do not have any control over the creatives of the product listing. You cannot change images, you cannot change title or any product description. And the third business model is online or retail arbitrage. This business model basically involves you going to retail stores or online stores and hunting for bargains and deep discounts, then making sure that the products you find in the stores also have demand on Amazon and that you can make profit after taking into consideration all FBA fees. The biggest pro of this business model is that you can literally start with under $100, which makes it very easy to get a taste of e-commerce and start gaining experience. On the other hand, this business model is very time consuming because you have to constantly be hunting for deals and discounts. So it is time consuming and it's also pretty much impossible to scale. And there's also one more business model that I didn't even include it as a business model, and that is dropshipping. Some people do it. I personally would advise you to stay away from dropshipping on Amazon, simply because Amazon has very strict performance metrics, and when you do dropshipping, it's very easy to underperform and violate these metrics, which will ultimately get you into trouble with Amazon and eventually get your account suspended. So dropshipping is something you definitely want to avoid on Amazon. I built my 7-figure FBA business using the private label method. So in this tutorial, we'll only be focusing on private label. Now, the business setup is where many new sellers get a little confused, and to shed some light, you can sell on Amazon as either a company or sole proprietor, in other words, an individual with your legal entity being your name. However, this is where I have to put a disclaimer that I'm not a lawyer or a tax professional, so you should definitely consult a CPA or tax professional in your country of residence just to make sure that you're making the right decision for your business. If your budget is really tight, you can start as an individual, and then once you test your product and it's all good and your business starts to grow, then you can always register a company and update your tax information in your Seller Central account. Opening a seller account is pretty straightforward. Amazon makes it really easy for everyone to open their own selling account. Here on their website, sell.amazon.com, you can find basically all the information and documents that you need to prepare. As for the selling plans, there are two. There is individual plan, which is free, but you have to pay 99 cents for every item that you sell on Amazon, on top of the other fulfillment fees. The professional plan costs $39.99, that's $40 per month, but you don't have to pay the 99 cents fee per item sold. So I would personally suggest everyone go straight for the professional plan, because you also get tons of other benefits, such as the ability to advertise on Amazon. Here are the things that you need to prepare before you start the process of opening a seller account. So you need an email address, or if you already have Amazon customer account, you can use the same login details to open a selling account. You also need a chargeable credit card, a government ID, that's your tax information, phone number, and you also need to provide a bank account where Amazon can disburse your funds every 2 weeks. And in addition to those, Amazon will also want to verify your address, so I suggest you to also prepare utility bills if possible, with your name and address visible on the utility bill, as well as a bank statement, again with your name and address visible. Now, if you're renting your home and you cannot get utility bill with your name, you can provide a rental contract in addition to the utility bill with the name of your landlord. Now, Finding a product and product research are the most important aspect of your entire business. If you choose a good product, everything else will basically click naturally almost on its own without too much effort and money spent on PPC. However, if you pick a bad product, no matter how much money you throw in PPC ads, your product is most likely to fail. Your objective here is very simple. First, remember to never copy an existing product. Find a product niche, ideally a niche, not a product. Find a product niche that most products within the niche sell well. Don't copy them. Do a research, see what customers like, dislike, and try to come up with a way to differentiate the product in a unique way, sort of creating a whole new variation that is not currently sold on Amazon, but you believe and you know that customers are going to buy based off of your research. What I can do to help maximize your odds for success is something that I've come up with over the years, and I call it the product selection funnel. Now, the product selection funnel is simply a process with multiple steps where you're going to run all your product ideas through. And if your product makes it through to the end of the funnel, then you will have a product that is highly likely to do well on Amazon. Now, I'm not gonna lie to you and tell you that every one of you will become successful by using the product selection funnel. The truth is that some of you will succeed and others will fail. Everything boils down to how you execute the product selection funnel. And because I believe that everyone learns best through examples rather than explanations, in this course I will demonstrate to you how I execute the product selection funnel. The very first question you need to ask yourself is, how much is your total startup capital? Knowing your budget will prevent you from choosing products and niches that are too competitive and expensive to launch and run PPC campaigns. Once you've determined your budget, we're going to create your own custom product criteria. Because when it comes to Amazon FBA in 2021 and 22, there is no such thing as one set of product criteria that fits everyone. And once we are done designing our custom product criteria, we will move on to the next step in the funnel, which is market opportunity validation. In this step of the funnel, you're going to learn how to determine whether a product is worth pursuing or not based on multiple factors such as supply and demand, return on investment, phase 1 of product differentiation opportunities, where we're going to basically identify some general but major improvements or differentiations that we could apply so that it will give us a unique competitive advantage. And lastly, in this step, you're going to learn how to evaluate the performance of newer listings. By newer, I mean anything that has, let's say, under 200 reviews. And this step is really important because it will give you a pretty good picture of how easy or difficult it's going to be to launch a new listing into that particular niche. So once your product passes through the market opportunity validation step, then the final step in the product selection funnel is market research. And this is where we're going to dive deeper into product specifications. We're going to study our customers, how they are likely to use the product, what preferences they have, what other products are essential or could complement our product. Gathering and analyzing all that information will allow you to differentiate your product in a unique and meaningful way, which is ultimately the goal of this product selection funnel. Before we begin our product research, in order to avoid niches that are too expensive and competitive to launch a new product in, as well as maximize our odds for success, first we need to properly allocate our capital and design custom product criteria that is consistent with our capital. Okay, so the whole idea behind capital allocation is really simple. All we need to do is simply divide our total capital in half, then that would be the amount we would want to spend on our first order. That would be landed cost, including product and shipping cost. So in this example, we're going to work with a $5 capital divided by 2. Obviously, that's $2,500. And this is the approximate amount we would want to spend on our first order. Now, if your capital is $2,000, then you would want to spend roughly $1,000 on your first order. If your capital is $10,000, then you would want to spend $5,000. The reason why you want to do this is first and foremost because it will help you design a product criteria that is consistent and in line with your budget. In other words, you don't want to launch into niches that are too competitive and that you don't have enough capital to compete against other sellers. The second reason is simply because there is a delay between the time you receive your money from Amazon, but on the other hand, you will need to reorder well before you've run out of inventory. So you're going to need extra capital for that second order. Here is an example of creating your custom product criteria. Like I said, we're going to work with a $5,000 budget. So our budget for our first order is $2,500. And now I wanted to emphasize that all the criteria we're going to design here are not so strict in a way that you have to follow the exact number or there is a specific exact formula to follow, and you can play with the numbers. So I basically divide products in two categories. Ones that are high volume, let's say products that sell above 300, 500 and more units per month, but a low price, say everything that's under $50, $40. So this is the first set of criteria that we're going to design for exactly this type of product: high volume, low price. As our floor, we're going to input 300 units. So when we divide $2,500 by 300 units, that comes at $8.33 landed cost. Products on Amazon normally sell for 3 to 4 times the landed cost. So a product that has landed cost of $8.33 would retail on Amazon for anywhere between $25 to $33. Now on to the next line. This is going to be our ceiling, okay? 500 units. Like I said, you can play with those numbers. If you like, you can input 600 units or 400 units. That's all up to you. So $2,500 divided by 500 units, that's actually, I would like you to feel the numbers. I will give you 30 seconds to calculate the landed cost as well as the retail price range that such product would sell on Amazon. 30 seconds. Okay, so if your landed cost is $5 and retail price about 17 to 20, then your calculations are correct. And now we have here two sets of criteria. The first set is for products that sell about 300 to 600 units per month. Those products retail for $25 to $33. When it comes to reviews, I know many other people who teach Amazon will tell you to aim for niches that have fewer reviews, which actually worked several years ago, but that's no longer the case. So I would say the number of reviews really doesn't matter as much as it used to. You can still compete in niches where the average number of reviews is up to 1,000. The most important factor here is that you have a well differentiated product. Okay, so this basically is going to be your filters or product criteria that later on we're going to input in the product research software, whether it's Django Scout, Helium 10, or whatever software you're using. And now on to the second set of product criteria. That product would retail for $17 to $20, monthly sales $500 to $1,000. So if you've noticed, I simply double the number of monthly sales. That's how I get the range. So in the first set of criteria, the floor is 300 and then the ceiling is 600. In the second set of criteria, the floor is 500, the ceiling is 1,000 units per month. So basically we'll be looking for niches that sell 300 to 600 or 500 to 1,000 products per month on average. As I mentioned, the number of reviews is not so important. If you like, you can input 100 reviews as a minimum and 1,000 reviews as a maximum. Now on to the next type of product, which is sort of a medium volume product but higher price. By medium volume, I mean products that sell around 100 to 200, probably even up to 300 units per month, but a relatively higher price, say over $50. Okay, so in this first example, the floor will be 100 units and the ceiling will be 200 units. When we divide $2,500 by 100 units, we end up with $25, meaning $25 would be our maximum landed cost. Such a product would retail on Amazon between $75 to $100. Now again, try and fill the numbers for the ceiling. Okay, so these are the approximate numbers. Landed cost $12.50, and such a product would retail on Amazon. I'm sorry, I forgot to fill the numbers here, but they're down there. Such a product would retail for between $37 to $50. Again, on to monthly sales. We want to double for the ceiling. So that would be in the first set of criteria, 100 to 200 monthly sales. In the second set of criteria, 200 to 400. And now what we need to do is take one set of criteria at a time and input it into our product research software. Okay, so in this lesson, we will generate multiple product ideas and we will run them through the product selection funnel, and in particular step 3, market opportunity validation at the next phase. Now, let's switch to the opportunity finder, and I'm going to select the categories that I usually do. Of course, if you like, you can either add or subtract certain categories depending on your preferences. I'm going to select baby, beauty and personal care, electronics, health and household, home and kitchen, industrial, kitchen and dining, office products, patio, lawn and garden, pet supplies, sports and outdoors, and tools. Now I'm going to input our product criteria as search filters. So here we have 300 to 600 monthly sales and $25 to $35 as an average price range. You also have the option to adjust the level of competition and seasonality as you wish. Once again, I want you to think of the search filters as general guidelines rather than criteria that you have to follow strictly. In fact, I encourage you to tweak and experiment with your product criteria. I would normally click on niches that seem somewhat familiar to me or simply out of curiosity, just like these baseball t-shirts. I almost forgot to tell you that this is super important to have your delivered to location set to a zip code in the States, just in case that you're based in another country like myself. So I have to manually change the deliver to address every day because it just resets automatically to my default location. So this is super important. If you have delivered to location to another country, that means you're only going to see product listings that have international shipping option enabled, which is about 10% of the total listings, meaning that the research data you collect will be absolutely misleading. So make sure to always have your deliver to address in the country of the marketplace that you plan to sell. This type of product offers a lot of room for customization and differentiation at a relatively low cost. If you nail the right design and price, you could potentially do very, very well. Alright, that blended bottle, this is just the brand name. Now I know for sure that this niche is rather competitive and you really need to offer something unique and of value if you want to be successful. For example, let's say we design a bottle with specific text or message or image that would resonate with a certain audience. For instance, only females interested in workout or yoga, or let's say men interested in adventure motorcycles or kite surfing, whatever it might be. Just make sure that the audience you choose is big enough. Otherwise, it's not going to be profitable. As for these cake stands, I have to admit I know almost nothing about cakes and baking, but some of you might be into baking and stuff, so you may be able to come up with something original and unique. And oftentimes you just go through products and niches almost aimlessly, just to explore and see if something interesting comes up. Just like this acrylic desk organizer that I stumbled upon. Seems pretty interesting. I already have some ideas for differentiation. Now, if we do a reverse ASIN on the product, reverse ASIN meaning that we identify all search terms that this product listing is indexed for. So if we do a reverse ASIN, we may find an entire new niche or sub-niches. Obviously, the first search term desk organizer is the main niche with almost 120,000 exact monthly searches. And here we have different types of desk organizers, including metal, wood, and plastic. I believe this plastic is acrylic, which is basically like a high-end plastic. In this case, we want to narrow the niche further down to acrylic organizers only. And even when we narrow down to acrylic organizers, the niche still feels quite broad. So from what I'm seeing going through the page, I can already identify several sub-niches, such as acrylic desk organizers, acrylic drawer organizers, organizers for kitchen, organizers for cosmetics, even for jewelry, and they're all made of acrylic. So for now, I'm just going to paste a few products that represent different sub-niches into our spreadsheet. And then at the next stage, I'm going to run them through step 3 of the product selection funnel, which is market opportunity validation. First, we're going to paste this drawer organizer into the spreadsheet, as well as the sales data. Next, we're going to paste this kitchen organizer set. Of course, along with the sales data. Then this eyeglasses storage organizer also looks quite interesting. I don't think I've ever seen anything like this before. And then this jewelry organizer might have potential since it only has 85 reviews but already generating 750 sales a month. That cosmetic organizer is also relatively new with 235 reviews and doing over 2600 sales a month. That's incredible. And lastly, I'm going to paste this organizer for desk since it's relatively new at 143 reviews and over 500 monthly sales. I also like that it is a higher price point. Desktop organizer. Now we're looking for a well-established acrylic pen holder to run a reverse ASIN on, so we can identify high volume and also highly relevant search terms. Okay, this is the same listing that we saved in our spreadsheet. It seems well established, so let's see what search terms this listing is indexed for. The top search term is desk organizer, but I think that would be way too broad, so I will try to find something more relevant. Let's try this pen holder. So there are 4,000 results for this keyword and the niche is still too broad. Despite that, we can take this opportunity to learn more about the niche, which can help us come up with ideas for differentiation later on in the research. This is a pretty cool video ad. It kind of makes me want to click on the listing. So there are a variety of materials and designs. Apart from acrylic, there is also metal, bamboo, ceramic, and even concrete. Wow, I kind of really like the industrial look of the concrete design. Very nice. Now I want to find a little bit more relevant search term for our acrylic pen holder that is also high volume. Let's try pen organizer. Well, not the most relevant, but I think that's the search term that most customers are going to use when looking for such product. And also there are still several acrylic designs on page 1. Okay, let's see what we're gonna find within this listing. In the frequently bought together section, seems like some customers buy more than one organizer, which makes me think that there is demand for larger organizers with more storage. There are also a lot of 360 rotating designs. There are only 2 customer images here, so not really helpful. And the customer actually uses the organizer for makeup brushes. Okay, actually I think I have an idea for the design of our pen holder. I'm thinking of a 2-tier organizer. A top tier could be something like this organizer, with lots of room for pens and pencils and other taller items. And the bottom tier could be a drawer, or more like multiple drawers. Probably something like this one. Yeah, so let's hop over to Alibaba and estimate the product cost of such a 2-tier design. This holder seems perfect to go on top of our organizer, and this is actually the same design as the one currently sold on Amazon. Now, in order to save time, I will go over to some similar designs to try and estimate the product cost. However, when you get to this step, I suggest you, since it's best and most accurate, to contact a few suppliers with the exact specifications of your product idea so that they can give you an accurate product quotation. Now, this organizer sells for up to $10 for 100 pieces, so the price for over 100 pieces is likely to be something like $7. The size of it, excluding the binder holder, is approximately the same size as of our product idea. We have the top tier for holding pens and stuff and 2 drawers on the bottom tier. And I want to find a drawer design that is closer to what I have in mind, so I could more accurately illustrate my product idea to you. Yep, this is exactly how I envisioned the bottom tier. It's perfect. It's got 2 little drawers and another larger one. So let's paste both the top and the bottom tier into a spreadsheet. And this is exactly what the complete product will look like. Imagine this top tier goes on top of the drawers, and that's exactly what I envisioned. The top tier can be used for organizing pens and other longer items, while the drawers at the bottom will be perfect for storing smaller items, anything from earphones to pencil sharpeners to paper clips and staples, you name it. Now only the top tier design sells for $29.99 on Amazon, so we can easily sell our design for $35 and above. However, I will use $29.99 to see if we can still make profit at that price point. Net revenue is around $18.50. Total product cost approximately $7 for 200 to 300 pieces. Now let's estimate the shipping cost. First, we need to get the product packaging dimensions as precisely as possible. And don't forget to switch from cubic meter to cubic feet, since the measurements on Amazon US are expressed in inches. So the package measures 10.6 times 9 times 6.6 inches. I'm going to round those numbers, so that will be 11 inches times 9 times 7 inches. And gross weight is 1.7 pounds. We can load about 5,600 pieces of this product into a 40-foot container, and the current rates are $22,000 per container. So that means our product will cost about $4 per unit to ship from China to an Amazon fulfillment center in the States. And the total landed cost comes at approximately $13. And most importantly, estimated gross profit around $5.50. And once again, if we sell the product at the full price of $35 or more, our gross profit can easily go up to $10 per unit. Now, what would be the startup cost for this project? If we ordered 200 pieces times the landed cost of $13, that'd be $2,600. And if we ordered 300 pieces times $13, that would be $3,600 in inventory startup cost, well within our budget. And here is my humble forecast for the potential ROI or return on investment that this product could earn if we sell it at the lowest price of $29.99, and of course once the listing is well established. So if we sell on average of 500 units per month at $550 gross profit, that would be $2,750 gross profit. And if we assume that we spend $600 a month on PPC ads and $150 for storage fee, that would leave us with roughly $2,000 in net profit per month, or $24,000 a year. And sourcing products is not as complicated as many of you may think. Most of the sourcing happens on Alibaba.com, which is the biggest supplier marketplace in the world. You basically type in a product, let's say desk organizer, and you see a bunch of listings of different suppliers selling different designs of desk organizers. I suggest contacting at least 3 to 5 suppliers. Simply because you want to get a feel of their communication, and you also want to compare different quotations so that you can estimate the average market price. Alibaba makes it easy to choose the right supplier. Here are a few metrics that you need to know in order to assess your suppliers. So first off, you will see that some listings have verified badge, which basically means that the supplier and the factory has been verified either by Alibaba or a third-party inspection, and they're basically a verified and legit supplier. The number of years you see here, that indicates how many years the supplier has been a gold supplier on Alibaba, which is paid membership. The longer a supplier has been gold supplier on Alibaba, the better. In general, I would say aim for suppliers with at least 2 years of being on Alibaba. Another recent feature that Alibaba has is customer rating. So you can see number of reviews and overall customer ratings. Anything above 4.5 stars is pretty good, and ideally you want to find suppliers with lots of reviews and higher overall rating. You also have the ability to choose manufacturer from different countries. Of course, that will depend on the type of products. Some products can only be manufactured in China, while others that are generally more simple could be manufactured in Vietnam, India, and many other countries. Before you contact a supplier, you want to create an account with Alibaba, which is absolutely free. Then simply click on the listing and the supplier that you want to contact, and you can send them a message through Alibaba. Now, many new sellers are concerned about payments with Alibaba suppliers and scammers and things. I would assure you that Alibaba is much safer than most of you think. I've been using Alibaba for years now. I've helped many people start selling on Amazon who also used Alibaba, and I've never heard of any scams or issues with suppliers. If you're concerned, there are ways that you can protect yourself, and that's either by using PayPal for your first order, or alternatively you can use Alibaba Trade Assurance, which is a secure payment option where Alibaba will basically hold the funds for a period of time. I don't remember what that period was, but if you have any issues with product quality or quantity or delivery issues, Alibaba will basically step in and make things right between you and the supplier. There is also another website called 1688.com. This website is also owned by Alibaba, but is aimed only at the domestic Chinese market. However, you can use this website as price comparison, just so you have a little bit of a leverage when it comes to negotiations. However, keep in mind that prices for most products will be cheaper on 1688. Although everything on 1688 is in Chinese, the search algorithm still recognizes English words, so you can type in desk organizer, for example, and you can still see some product listings and prices. Yeah, so this is the price. You can use currency converter to convert RMB to USD and find out the price in US dollars. And when it comes to contacting suppliers on Alibaba, there is nothing you need to worry about, really. I've seen some other people teach you to like to present yourself as a big company and stuff, and lie to the supplier. I basically don't think that's necessary. They're just normal people like everyone else. Simply tell them about the product you're interested in, inquire the price. You can also mention the quantity that you intend to purchase, or you can simply ask them for price based on your specifications and quantity. Another thing I wanted to talk about is Incoterms. So when you receive a product quotation, the most common Incoterms are Ex-Works, also known as EXW, which basically means that the product quotation only includes the product cost and it does not include transportation from your supplier's warehouse or factory to the nearest seaport or airport. The second most common Incoterm is FOB, meaning free on board, which includes both product cost and transportation to a sea or airport. Now, when it comes to getting samples, I suggest getting samples from multiple suppliers. Probably up to 3 suppliers will be sufficient for you to compare quality and price. Here's a little tip to save you a little money on shipping cost for samples, because that could be quite expensive, and as you order multiple samples, expenses will quickly add up. So basically it's quite expensive to get a sample from individual supplier. Most suppliers will charge you $50 and upwards for just for the shipping of the sample. So if you get samples from 3 different suppliers, that may cost you anywhere from $150 to $300 in shipping costs only. Alternatively, what you can do is you can Google or search on Alibaba for consolidation agents or consolidation sample shipping. Those are small companies or agents who can collect your samples, and those consolidation agents will then pack all your samples together and send them to you at once, saving you as much as 50% of the total shipping cost. Another tip I have for samples: you can order a sample of the best-selling and highest rated product in your niche that you're going to sell on Amazon, and use that sample to compare the quality and the features of your product. This way will give you a pretty good feeling of the value versus price that your product delivers. Shipping. Now, shipping is where many new sellers freak out, and the good news is that shipping from China or wherever country your supplier is based to an Amazon warehouse is very simple, and 99% of suppliers work with large freight forwarders, so they will be able to offer you pretty competitive rates and professional service. The freight forwarders also have customs brokers who will take care of any import tariffs, customs clearance. It's a basically door-to-door service. They will deliver your shipment straight to the Amazon warehouse. Now, the bad news is that shipping rates have been on the rise ever since the pandemic began, and especially in the summer of this year, around June and July, rates reached exponential growth, and the current rates are at all-time high. So for example, to ship a 40-foot container from China to the west coast of the United States, it will cost you about $21,000 versus around $26,000 from China to the east coast of the United States. Now, that doesn't mean that you have to ship a full container. You can send smaller shipments as small as 1 to 2 cubic meters. Price per cubic meter varies from $400 to $500. Now, onto the shipping process itself. It's pretty simple, and since 99% of suppliers work with large freight forwarding companies, most likely your supplier will offer you to send your shipment to Amazon. It's really convenient, and the rates are also quite competitive. The only thing you have to do, and that's only for the first shipment, is to provide the freight forwarder with a photo of your passport, and they most likely will send you a power of attorney for you to sign, so they can do the customs clearance on your behalf. As for shipping times, the most common shipping method is via sea, so it takes about 2 to 3 weeks for the ship to arrive to the west coast of the US, and then another 10 days for customs clearance and delivery to an Amazon warehouse. If you're shipping to the east coast, that will take anywhere from 4 to 5 weeks, and another 10 days for the shipment to go through customs clearance and get delivered to an Amazon fulfillment center. Now, when it comes to designing your product listing, there are 3 main aspects. Those are your product images, product title, and description. Let's start first with product images, since they're hands down the most important, especially your main image. Your main image is the thing that will make customers click or pass on to your listing. So in my opinion, this is absolutely the most important aspect of your entire product listing. My secret for outstanding main images is using the patterns that you identified during your product differentiation research. Those patterns will include things such as why, how, when, where, what your customers use the product most commonly for, and then incorporating those patterns into your main image. So when a customer comes through and sees your image, that would immediately trigger an emotional response, and they're much more likely to buy from you rather than your competitors. Here is an example. So let's use the pen organizer for desk. And yeah, that's our product. So you definitely want to showcase the lower tier with the drawers here, and with a bunch of smaller items neatly tucked into the drawers. So when our target customer comes and sees our image, they will immediately be drawn into clicking onto our listing and highly likely to convert to a sale. The main purpose of the product title is basically to help with keyword indexing for your product, which is like SEO, search engine optimization, but for the Amazon's algorithm. To find the highest volume and most relevant search terms, you can use tools such as Jungle Scout's Keyword Scout by simply going to an established listing with lots of reviews, just grabbing their ASIN and then pasting it into the search box of Keyword Scout. And after a few seconds, Keyword Scout will display all search terms that the listing and the product are indexed for, organized in order from the highest to the lowest 30-day exact search volume. The best practice is to use the top around 5 to 6 search terms in the title, and then another 10 or so into the product description. So each product listing has up to 5 bullet points, and the product description is down here. Now the product description has one more function that not many people know, which is answering common questions and concerns that customers have, and those questions and concerns could be found down below at customer Q&A. So you can basically go through them and figure out what are the most common questions and concerns customers have and address them in the product description. And in the final section of this tutorial, I wanted to talk a little bit about PPC, which is Amazon's native pay-per-click advertising. Some of the most common questions I get from new Amazon sellers is, do we actually need to run PPC ads on Amazon when launching a product? And the answer is yes, you absolutely need to run PPC ads, simply because when you launch a new product, your listing will be thrown somewhere in the far end of search results. And the fact is that over 90% of customers never make it past page 1. So that basically means your product will be extremely hard for customers to find and see, and really hard for you to generate sales. So you definitely want to run at least one ad per product, making sure that your product shows on page 1 for at least 2 search terms. This way you get much more exposures, you start generating sales, and once this happens, then your organic placement will improve, also your PPC placement will improve, your CPC or cost per click will also get cheaper, and the best thing is that you get more and more organic sales. Another common question new sellers ask me is, when should they kill their ads? And I would say you never want to kill your ads unless they're highly unprofitable, and then try a new campaign until you find a campaign that's either profitable or break even. To me personally, if a campaign is profitable, that's great. If the campaign is break-even, that's fine. A break-even campaign will still bring benefits to your listing because it will help you improve your organic placement and increase organic sales. If an ad is losing a little bit, I'll probably still keep it. Now the good thing is that if you have a good product, most of your campaigns will be profitable without too much effort. And one more question I get is, should you run ads outside of Amazon, such as Facebook ads or Instagram ads? And the short answer is no. That's absolutely not necessary. I've tried and it didn't work. I know many other people who've tried and it didn't work. In my experience, Amazon ads are the most effective, and if you think, it makes a lot of sense, because when people go on Amazon, they have high purchasing intent. They go on Amazon to buy things, to buy something they need. While how often do you actually go on Facebook and Instagram because you want to buy something? Most likely you go on Facebook while sitting at Starbucks and waiting for a friend to arrive, and you just want to kill 5 or 10 minutes. That's why Facebook ads are not suitable for Amazon products. I mean, nothing wrong with Facebook ads. You should definitely run Facebook ads if you have a Shopify store and you want to bring traffic to your own store, that's fine. But I just don't believe that Facebook ads are the most effective venue for an Amazon product.